The Dirty Birds versus the Dirty Birds. It's the Ravens and the Seahawks. Big matchup in Baltimore. One of the biggest games of the year so far. Flying under the radar. 5-2 versus 6-2. Baltimore, first place team. Seattle, first place team. Baltimore, 2-1 at home. Seattle, 2-1 on the road. This would be a massive non-conference win for either side. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope the Seahawks can get the dub as a Steeler fan. But it should be a good one.
The Seahawks sitting at 5-2 is. We talked about this in the NFL trade reaction show after.
Oh, can I bring up one more thing?
Yeah,
Sorry to cut
please,
you
please.
off. I was a moron on that trade reaction show saying I'm taking my word back on the Seahawks winning the West.
There we go. There we go. This is the Jack I know and love.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will. What was I, a lunatic? Was I phased? It sounded stupid. I mean, they're sitting here at 5-2. The Niners are playing some pretty rough football now, kind of going through a rough stretch. We're about halfway through, and Seattle's in first place. Of course, they're a contender to me. I mean, absolutely.
I know. You're literally saying what I said.
They're my preseason 3 seed. They're my NFC West champ, and by golly, I'm sticking to it.
There you go.
These are my birds.
Thank you. And they just traded.
These are my birds.
Trade. Yeah. We talked about on the trade deadline show. Seattle sitting at 5-2 is very quietly competing for the 1 seed. Not just the playoff berth or an NFC West title, the 1 seed. And this is one of those games where if you can go and beat Baltimore in Baltimore, the way the Ravens have been playing this season, you got to keep up with the Lions, who we mentioned a few episodes ago, have a light schedule. They should be able to tally up some wins. The Eagles are 7-1. Their schedule gets a little tougher. But Seattle has a prime opportunity to get one of those signature wins because their schedule also gets a lot tougher down the road. But you're going to find out what this team is made out of this weekend. Their defense has held teams to 20 points or less for 4 straight weeks. Geno Smith, I'm still waiting to see if we're going to get some of the last year's first half of the season. Geno, I don't think it's coming, actually. I look at Seattle, and I see more of a wild card 10-win team max. This team, and Seattle fans are going to say, wow, what a drastic turn.
14-win NFC West champ.
Yeah, no. I'm not, Paul, I'm with you. I'm not buying this team at all. Their schedule has been far and away the easiest in the NFL up until this point.
Some good wins.
So they got blown out by the Rams. Overtime win against the Lions. That's good.
Yep.
Barely beat the Panthers. Beat the Giants. Lost to the Bengals. Beat the Cardinals. Beat the Browns. I'm sorry, but that's just not impressive, right? Your defense doing well against Daniel Jones, and this week the Browns played PJ Walker. Right? Yeah, doing well against those quarterbacks. Oh, wow, we held Josh Dobbs and Amari DiMiccardo to 10 points. We're so good. No, I'm not impressed by this team. I think this is a classic case where they are overreacting to their record. And if you are a fraud, going to Baltimore will expose you pretty quickly. I think that is exactly what's happening this week. I don't think this game is going to be close, and I think that 5.5-point favorites to Baltimore is frankly an insult.
Seattle struggled last week big time stopping Cleveland on the ground. They had 160 yards, average about 4 yards per carry. And we know where Baltimore thrives. It is on the ground.
Oh, I know.
With Gus Bus leading the way. We know what Lamar can do with his legs. That's where they kill you. And Seattle got killed for the most part by Cleveland. So I'm curious to see how they can possibly contain that. And the other side of the ball, Baltimore's defense is strong as a whole. But their main strength is also up front. Geno Smith has to play a super, super clean game. And he has the weapons. They have the offense. They have the passing attack to attack Baltimore's secondary. He's got to just play a clean game.
I don't trust Geno.
But I don't know if I trust him either on the road.
I don't trust Geno. I don't trust him on the road especially.
The problem is I don't think Kenneth Walker is much of a factor. And for this offense to really be clicking on all cylinders, he has to be. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tough game for them to win.
You mentioned the rushing attack for Baltimore and just how Seattle's going to have to be able to stop them. I found these numbers interesting. Seattle allows 3.1 yards per carry for running backs this season. That's number 1 in the NFL. However, they are 31st in the league, allowing 5.4 yards per carry to quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson's not necessarily the guy you want to go against when that's a statistic that's not in your favor. Seattle, they play you tough. They do play up and down to their competition a lot of the times, But this Baltimore team, with the way Lamar Jackson has looked this year, I'm not picking against them.
This seems like a typical Ravens dud spot, though. They're at home, like they're playing great. Oh, now they're terrible. Like against the Colts,
it is certainly a trap.
Like this
There's
is like
no
a
question about that.
Like we've seen this from Baltimore time and time again for a number of years. It's like, oh, this team's great. Wait, oh, they might stink.
But we've seen it from Seattle too, where they're like last season. A lot of times they looked really good, then they'd play San Francisco and get blown out, and it's not even close.
Yeah, someone's got to give.
Yeah, so one of them has to give. Yeah, you're right.
But I would pick Baltimore home.
I'm going Baltimore too. If Seattle wins this one, though, it changes the tone of the entire season. It's all of a sudden you look at them as they could be sick. Could they be the 1 seed if they win and Dallas beats Philly?
They're
I don't know who has the tiebreak. I think Philly would be half a game up, but still
they're not getting the 1 seed.
No, they're not.
Oh, yeah, 1 seed. They're probably the 1 seed.
But you know what?
They could win the West. They could win the West.
They could. That's your prediction. Okay, let's do some game picks here.
There's one thing to keep an eye on in this game, actually. A emerging star on the Seahawks defense you're not hearing a lot about, Boye Mafe. He has currently tied the Seahawks record with a sack in his 5th consecutive game. 1 sack against Lamar Jackson, and he breaks that record. That's certainly something to keep an eye on because it's weird. I haven't seen anybody talking about him, but he is like setting records in Seattle as a second-year edge rusher. This is a guy to keep an eye on.
Also, Devin Witherspoon, by the way, I skipped over this. Similar numbers to Sauce Gardner.
Dude.
In the rookie season right now, he is playing out of his mind.
This Seahawks defense, this Seahawks team in general, they just have so many freaking good young players. I get that DK Metcalf isn't exactly like a baby anymore, but he's only 25.
Same age as we are.
There's so many good young players on the Seahawks team. That's the kind of energy that you need to channel if you want to go into Baltimore and win.
Yeah, again, the opportunity is there. This weekend, you look at the Dolphins, you look at the Cowboys, you look at the Seahawks. Big opportunities for those teams that don't normally get the big win. Go do it. And it's on the road. I know Dolphins are in Germany, but the other two are on the road. These are season-defining wins that you can have. Go do it at this point. That's nothing else to say there.